Hey Scoopers, get ready for a rapid-fire rundown of the biggest news hitting your screens today. The world of entertainment and gaming never sleeps, and we're here to bring you the hottest updates as they drop. From Gotham's grimiest streets to the depths of comic book lore, buckle up, because this is your essential briefing. We've got the inside scoop on a massive LEGO Batman announcement that's got everyone talking. And that's not all. We're diving into a terrifying new take on a classic villain that's sending shockwaves through the fandom. Plus, we've got a deep dive into the endless debate surrounding Gotham's greatest protector. And to top it all off, a look at some must-read comic releases. Don't miss a single second of this epic update. Stick around, you won't want to miss this. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Gotham's newest brick-built legend. Everything we know about LEGO Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight. Gotham City is about to get a whole lot more blocky and a whole lot more awesome. The gaming world was set ablaze with the announcement of LEGO Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight, a title promising to blend the beloved charm of LEGO with the gritty heroism of the caped crusader. This isn't just another LEGO game. It's shaping up to be a spiritual successor to the critically acclaimed Batman, Arkham series, while simultaneously paying homage to Batman's most iconic moments across comics, film, and television. With a 2026 release date on the horizon, fans are hungry for every detail, and thankfully, TT Games has been generous with the reveals. At its core, LEGO Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight is designed for co-op play, specifically a two-player experience, though it's confirmed to be offline only. This means you and a friend can team up to defend Gotham. The game isn't just about solo adventures with a sidekick. The developers are emphasizing the Bat family. Players will have the chance to step into the boots of multiple heroes, each with their own unique gadgets and abilities. Jonathan Smith, head of the development team, revealed that the roster includes familiar faces like Jim Gordon, Catwoman, Robin, who graduates to Nightwing, and Batgirl, with each character boasting distinct gear and upgrade paths. While previous LEGO titles often featured over 100 playable characters, this iteration will focus on a more curated selection, ensuring each hero feels impactful. If you're flying solo, an AI companion will fill the gap, and the ability to seamlessly switch between characters on the fly adds a dynamic layer to gameplay. Fans of the Arkham series will be thrilled to know that the signature Riddler puzzles and trophies are making a comeback, a feature that has become synonymous with modern Batman gaming. Beyond these classic challenges, the game will also incorporate detective minigames, requiring players to solve intricate puzzles, such as matching LEGO pieces to molecular structures to identify chemical agents, as seen in a gameplay reveal involving Red Hood's dastardly plot. The Batmobile is an iconic part of Batman's arsenal, and LEGO Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight promises to deliver in spades. TT Games has confirmed that all the Batmobiles will be present, from the classic 1966 version to the Tumbler and beyond. But it doesn't stop there. Every playable character will have their own unique vehicles. Imagine Jim Gordon rolling up in a police car or Batbike, or soaring through Gotham on the Batbike yourself. The game also seems to incorporate the glide mechanic familiar to Arkham players, allowing for traversal across the expansive Gotham City. Speaking of Gotham, the city itself will be a character in the game. While not entirely open from the outset, areas will unlock as players progress through the story, starting on Tricorner Island and expanding to the larger South Island. This version of Gotham will be a living, breathing environment, complete with traffic and pedestrians, adding a level of immersion missing in previous Batman games. Easter eggs and comic book references will be embedded in every shopfront and billboard, ensuring a treat for longtime fans. Batmite is even set to run shops, offering new suits, vehicles, and upgrades. Gameplay mechanics are also heavily inspired by the Arkham series. Expect the return of the free-flow combat system, allowing for fluid takedowns, and the use of iconic gadgets like explosive gel and batarangs. Detective vision is rumored to return, and the Batclaw will be usable for traversal, enabling those signature glides. A significant new addition for LEGO games is the inclusion of difficulty settings, easy, normal, and hard, catering to a wider range of players. Perhaps most intriguingly, LEGO Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight will feature an original narrative that draws inspiration from across Batman's rich history. Instead of adapting a single movie or comic run, it will weave together elements from various iconic stories, creating a definitive Batman experience. Players might encounter scenarios reminiscent of Tim Burton's films, like fighting Red Hood at Ace Chemicals, and then transition to elements inspired by Christopher Nolan's darker interpretations. To top it all off, an astonishing 100 different suits will be unlockable, including fan favorites like the Batman '89 suit and the Batsuit from Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Audience reaction has been overwhelmingly positive, with fans expressing excitement about the blend of LEGO's lightheartedness with the Arkham series' gameplay depth and the vast array of Bat vehicles and suits. The promise of a comprehensive Batman story, told through the beloved LEGO lens, has set high expectations for 2026. This deep dive into Gotham's brick-built future has us buzzing. But now, let's shift focus from the streets of Gotham to the darker corners of the comic universe, where a new terror has emerged. Absolute Batman 11 unleashes the most terrifying Bane yet. The latest installment of Scott Snyder and Nick Dragatta's Absolute Batman comic, issue 11, has thrust a terrifying new iteration of Bane into the spotlight, leaving fans questioning the very limits of the iconic villain's monstrous potential. In this reimagined universe, where Bruce Wayne is a resourceful city engineer rather than a billionaire industrialist, the stakes are already astronomically high. The previous arc saw Batman defeat Black Mask, only to discover that his machinations were merely a prelude to a far greater threat. The Joker, who now unleashes his ultimate weapon, Bane, upon a beleaguered Gotham. While many might recall Bane from Tom Hardy's portrayal in The Dark Knight Rises, this Absolute Batman version elevates the character to a new level of dread. Standing at an imposing 9 feet tall, even without his Venom steroid, Bane can swell to the size of a small building when augmented. His sheer power was demonstrated when he effortlessly subdued Batman in issue 9, and his cruelty was further cemented in issue 10, where he held Bruce captive for months in the Joker's nightmarish Ark-M facility. Now, with fill-in artist Clay Mann taking the reins for issue 11, the comic delves into Bane's chilling origin story, presenting a villain who is not only physically dominant but also a twisted reflection of Batman himself. Absolute Batman has consistently deconstructed familiar Batman tropes, reimagining Bruce Wayne's origin and transforming Mr. Freeze into a ghoulish ice monster. Bane, however, has maintained a relatively classic appearance, complete with his signature skull-like luchador mask and green Venom tubes. His origin story in issue 11 closely mirrors the 1993 Vengeance of Bane by Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan, tracing his roots to the fictional South American prison, Peñadero. Raised within its brutal confines due to his father's revolutionary activities, Bane endured a harsh upbringing that forged him into a formidable figure. Snyder's narrative, however, recontextualizes this history within the Absolute universe, presenting Bane as a dark mirror to what Batman could become. The issue is narrated by Alfred, who, in this continuity, is an MI6 agent. Alfred recounts Bane's history, tinged with the regret of not having warned Bruce more sternly. A particularly harrowing fantasy sequence depicts Bane, wielding a bat-shaped axe, brutally dismembering Batman, symbolizing the ultimate breaking of the hero and his iconic symbol. This visceral depiction, coupled with Bane's overwhelming power, underscores the seemingly insurmountable challenge Batman faces. Bane's personal history is interwoven with the fate of Santa Prisca. Raised by his father amidst a failed rebellion, Bane and his father spent 11 years imprisoned. His father drew strength from a vision of Santa Prisca's royal quetzal, a symbol of freedom. Bane's mask, crafted from the Santa Prisca flag, adorned with the quetzal, represents his heritage. However, in a devastating turn, Bane accepted the Joker's offer of paradise on Santa Prisca in exchange for his soul, leading him to murder his own father. This act positions Bane as a figure who has embraced darkness for perceived salvation. Snyder emphasizes the parallels between Bane and Batman. Both were shaped by childhood trauma and achieved peak physical and intellectual prowess through sheer will. Locked in Peñadero, Bane honed his body and mind, much like Bruce's global travels. The comic draws a line from Bane's self-perfection to Batman's own disciplined regimen. Furthermore, Bane's use of venom is expanded. It not only enhances his physical strength, but also grants him precise cellular control over his muscles and the ability to expand his brain for increased knowledge and tactical processing, making him a walking encyclopedia of combat strategy. Traditionally, Bane sought to defeat Batman to prove his superiority. In Absolute Batman, this superiority is undeniable, making Batman's struggle seem hopeless. Yet, Batman's resilience remains his defining trait. Bane's ultimate goal is to transform Batman into a venom-powered warrior, with their battle serving as a brutal test of Bruce's suitability for the procedure. Alfred's imagined description of this transformed Batman, as the hero Gotham needs, echoes a line from The Dark Knight, highlighting the comic's exploration of what defines a true hero. The narrative also draws from The Dark Knight by referencing the Joker's message that crime is about sending a message, not just money. Similarly, Batman burning the $200 million bribe from Black Mask in issue 5 signifies his incorruptibility, a stark contrast to the Joker's destructive madness. Snyder's vision of Batman as a force of chaos, operating outside of rotten systems, aligns with Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, where Batman is an outlaw. This approach makes the underdog hero's journey more compelling. The Joker, portrayed as a megalomaniacal billionaire, becomes an even more potent antagonist, especially by his ability to bring Bane, a man of immense power and intellect, to his knees. Audience reaction indicates a mix of awe and trepidation regarding this new Bane, with many praising the comic's bold reimagining of a classic villain and its thematic depth. The parallels drawn between Bane and Batman, and the exploration of what it truly means to be a hero in a corrupt world, have sparked considerable discussion. This terrifying new vision of Bane is certainly a game-changer for the Bat mythos. But is Batman truly the villain some claim him to be? Let's examine the arguments surrounding Gotham's protector. Batman on trial, the unanswered question of Bruce Wayne's philanthropy. The enduring question of Bruce Wayne's role in Gotham City continues to fuel debate, with many critics leveling accusations ranging from his responsibility for crime to the perceived totalitarian nature of his vigilantism. While these critiques have often been explored within the comics themselves, one particular line of questioning remains persistent. Why doesn't Bruce Wayne, a billionaire, dedicate his vast fortune primarily to charity and social programs instead of funding his war on crime? The most straightforward answer, often overlooked, is that Bruce Wayne does engage in philanthropy. From the earliest days of the character, comics have consistently depicted Bruce Wayne making substantial efforts to combat crime through both his vigilantism and his charitable endeavors. The recurring Wayne Foundation and his personal involvement in reintegrating reformed criminals highlight that his crusade is multifaceted, driven by compassion. Stories like 24/7 from Batman, Gotham Knights, 32 showcase his commitment to these efforts. However, the criticism often goes deeper, questioning the asterisk scale and effectiveness of his charitable work. The argument posits that instead of offering scholarships or funding individual projects, Bruce Wayne should be eradicating poverty entirely, thereby removing the root causes of crime. This raises the question of what such a comprehensive approach would entail. Would it mean funneling immense sums into Gotham's notoriously corrupt government? Or perhaps mirroring Batman, White Knight, and channeling resources into the often flawed Gotham City Police Department? While Bruce has indeed financed major infrastructure projects and housing initiatives, the core of the critique is whether these efforts are sufficient to address systemic issues. It's crucial to clarify that this discussion isn't about absolving billionaires of responsibility for societal problems. In the real world, vast disparities in wealth contribute to significant challenges. Even if individual billionaires cannot single-handedly fund a welfare state, their resources could undeniably make a substantial impact. The reality, however, is that capital is often directed towards investments with the highest return, not necessarily toward the greatest human good. In the context of comics, this dynamic is even more pronounced. The wealth and resources within these fictional universes function differently. They are narrative devices that facilitate the ongoing conflict. Regardless of the amount Bruce Wayne donates, the fantastical nature of Gotham's crime means that poverty, even if eradicated, would not eliminate the proliferation of supervillains. Many of Batman's antagonists are not driven by economic desperation, but by megalomania or other complex motivations. Furthermore, Bruce's inherited wealth is so immense that even substantial charitable contributions would barely make a dent in his overall fortune, ensuring he can always continue his mission as Batman. His wealth and Gotham's crime are depicted as forces largely outside his absolute control, subject to the demands of the narrative. The archetype of the wealthy vigilante, tracing back to characters like the Shadow and Zorro, relies on the protagonist's independent wealth as a means to dedicate their time to fighting crime. This wealth also creates a compelling contrast between their public persona as a pampered socialite and their secret life as a hardened crime fighter. For Batman, this wealth is essential for acquiring the sophisticated gadgets and technology that define his methods. Applying real-world logic, Bruce Wayne would indeed be better served by investing his resources in social programs rather than a solitary war on crime. Such an approach would likely yield more tangible results in reducing crime and improving citizens' lives. However, Batman does not operate in the real world. He exists in Gotham, a city where crime is fueled by a unique blend of supervillains and an almost inherent, almost cursed, nature. Gotham, by its very design, will always necessitate a Batman. The critique often boils down to applying realistic expectations to an inherently unrealistic genre. Why do more villains appear after Batman's intervention? Because the narrative requires antagonists for the hero. How does Batman maintain unchecked power without abuse? Because the story dictates he is morally incorruptible. Why can't Bruce Wayne simply solve crime through charity? Because the continued existence of crime is fundamental to the Batman comic book narrative. As Harrison Ford famously quipped, "Kid, it ain't that kind of movie." Audience reception to these arguments often highlights the inherent suspension of disbelief required for superhero stories. While the real-world utility of Batman's wealth is debatable, fans generally accept his role within the established conventions of the genre. The discussion, however, often sparks further debate about the ethical implications of wealth and responsibility, even within a fictional context. These are valid points in the ongoing debate about Gotham's protector. But let's turn our attention to the upcoming comic releases, where new stories are ready to unfold. Comic Book Roundup, new Batman titles and DC Universe updates. This week's comic releases bring a fresh wave of stories from the DC Universe, with a particular spotlight on the Caped Crusader and his expansive lore. Among the most buzzworthy announcements is the new LEGO Batman game, which promises a unique narrative tapestry woven from various movie adaptations, blending familiar characters with new interpretations. The approach of using movies as a foundation is a hallmark of LEGO games, but the prospect of seeing different iterations of characters, like a potential hybrid penguin referencing both Danny DeVito and Colin Farrell, offers an intriguing twist. Leading the pack is Immortal Legend Batman 1. This new series introduces a cosmic take on the Dark Knight, positing a Batman who harnesses the energy between universes to become a celestial warrior. The premise suggests a hero who once defended humanity from shadowy apparitions, but has since retreated, now hunting monsters born from these interdimensional rifts. The concept, described as reminiscent of early 2000s anime, presents a bold reimagining of Batman's mythos, exploring his legend as an immortal force. Robin and Batman, Jason Todd, 3 continues the complex relationship between the dynamic duo. In this installment, Robin, Jason Todd, has allied himself with a mysterious villain known as the Wraith, drawing Batman's concern. The issue delves into Batman's desperate efforts to save his ward from the sinister influences of evil and the potential for his redemption. Critics note that this storyline bears a striking resemblance to Damian Wayne's character arcs, particularly the Born to Kill story from 2011, suggesting a thematic exploration of mentorship and corruption. Shifting to the wider DC universe, Justice League Unlimited 10 issues a dire warning: apocalypse is imminent. A group of time traveler refugees, the Quantum Quorum, have alerted the Justice League to the impending doom. The question remains whether Earth will heed this warning and take drastic measures, much like Jor-El's ignored pleas to Krypton. As chaos escalates, one Leaguer faces an ultimate test, hinting at a high-stakes confrontation. Harley Quinn, 53, offers a characteristically unhinged solicitation from Harley herself, announcing 3 new DC products: a method for disrupting supervillains without direct involvement, a comic about a charming clown girl, and a story centered on an angry industrialist. The meta-commentary within the solicitation, questioning if anyone reads these things, adds a layer of self-awareness, with critics suggesting it might be a cry for help from the writer. Beyond these individual titles, the Beyond the Bat segment highlights graphic novel collections. Immortal Legend Batman, one is noted for its bold take on the character, while Harley Quinn, 53, is met with skepticism regarding its premise. Robin and Batman, Jason Todd 3, is identified as a wild card, expected to generate significant discussion regarding its interpretation of Jason Todd's character. Overall, the upcoming comic releases offer a diverse range of narratives, from cosmic reinterpretations of Batman to explorations of character dynamics and universe-threatening events. The engagement of fans with these varied storylines promises a dynamic period for DC Comics. Audience reaction, as indicated by the critics' thoughts, suggests a mix of anticipation for innovative takes on Batman and a healthy dose of skepticism towards certain solicitations. The discussion around character interpretations, particularly for Jason Todd, is expected to be robust. That's a wrap on this week's comic book highlights. Now, let's circle back to the biggest gaming news that's got everyone buzzing. And that's a wrap on today's News Blitz. We covered the epic LEGO Batman game, the terrifying new Bane, the ongoing trial of Batman's methods, and the latest comic releases. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Sheeran Scoop for all your essential updates, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Also, drop a comment below telling us your thoughts on today's stories, and follow us on all our social media channels for more exclusive content. We'll see you in the next one.